Hello world, it's Curtis Potter with Boundless Inspiration. And I'm going to go deep with you all today. And I'm going to be really real, authentic, and just connect with you. I've been working like 100-hour weeks every week for a long time. Like putting the gray hairs in my chin, the wrinkles in my forehead, like at times it's exhausting. Yesterday I had somebody say, "When do you sleep?" And I said, well, I'm being a lot more intentional about that now because I landed myself in the hospital from exhaustion. I was drinking like a pot of coffee a day, which dehydrates you. I didn't know that. One of the things that can hurt you the most is the stuff you don't know. And you don't know what you don't know until you realize you don't know them. And the moment you say, you know what, I don't know everything, is one of the biggest steps forward you could take in life. Because then when people are trying to teach you things, you don't get your ego in the way and say, oh no, I already know how to do that. You can advance the most when you open yourself up to learn. So when that person was like, man, when do you sleep? I was like, well, when I landed myself in the hospital, I'll drink a cup of coffee in the morning, and then I don't allow myself any more caffeine because I realized what it was doing. It was tearing up my heart. It was putting a lot of strain on my body, and I was doing it because I'm like, I gotta achieve this goal now. I want it now, right? I want my breakthrough now. I want my book that I'm writing to be done now. I want to be on the stages now. Because right now I'm painting. I've getting subcontracted out some apartments. We paying like 10 of the luxury apartments downtown Indy and the north side of Indy, the luxury apartments here in Indy, and it's a blessing. I'm so grateful. And you can get in that trap of like still wanting the future, the goal, the big thing. And I'm like, I'm tearing down my body. My knees hurt, my wrist hurt. I feel like I got arthritis from this paintbrushes, and I'm just ready to be on a stage, because you put in more than what you get paid for at the start, but eventually you'll get paid for more what you do at the end. That's why people grow businesses. That's why they climb up those ladders to be the management or CEO, the president, because then you don't have to work as hard physically, and you just get to make decisions with that wisdom that you have from all those lessons. But see, to get there, you've got to go through that. I had to get into that hospital for the universe or God, whatever you want to say, dude, you got to take care of your body if you want longevity. Because once you get to the top, are you going to die? Do you want to be one of those statistics where you die at 50, 60, and not make it to 70, 80, 90, where you're just enjoying the rest of your life? And then I spoke with someone the other day, and, they see the shirt, Boundless. I rock my own brand. You are your own brand. Even if it's not your clothing line or you're trying to do something, your name is your brand. So I wear my brand on my sleeve. I wear it on my shirts. I wear it on all my stuff. So I get asked a lot of questions, and I was talking to this guy, and I was like, yeah, I own my own business. I work for myself. I'm part owner of Changing Places Consulting Group for business consulting. I'm a partner with a real estate company that my buddy started. Amazing friend. I'm part owner of a non-for-profit, Boundless Youth. We're doing a lot of amazing things for kids, and we're raising money to build rec centers for kids. I'm almost done writing my book. I'm telling him all this stuff when he was asking me, what's Boundless? And he goes, man, you've got it all. And I was like, dude, you've got it all too. And in the same token, I push myself to exhaustion at times, and I don't allow myself to go do things that sometimes I want to do. Those gatherings, my buddies play pool every Friday night, and I miss it so much at times. And every so often I will allow myself to go play pool with them, but it's few far in between. because I know the greater good for what I'm doing. I'm writing this book that my goal is that if anybody picks it up, if you're a teenager, you're in your 20s, 30s, 80s, it don't matter. Like, I'm writing this book so every person that picks it up, it changes their life. Like, I'm getting on stages, and in stage fright used to be my number one fear, like it is for most people. Look, I'm getting goosebumps, my hair's sticking up. Like, I'm writing, and I my goal is to be a speaker because I'm pushing through those fears, because when you get on a stage and you speak, you have the opportunity to change somebody's life. And let's be real, because of my stage fright, I didn't want to be a motivational speaker. That was never my goal as a kid. But what it was, I was going through suicidal thoughts. I almost killed myself when I was 15. I wrote a note and I called my buddy and I said, dude, I'm about to go walk out in front of a truck, a semi. I lived on a road where the speed limit was 55 miles an hour. And I told him, I said, man, I love you. I'm about to go kill myself because I can't handle it. My dad wasn't in my life. I was molested as a kid and I struggled with it, and I didn't know how to communicate to tell anyone, and I was struggling and I almost committed suicide. He saved my life, and I started, I was still struggling, so I was watching social media, and it was Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, the motivational speaker, who saved me from having those suicidal thoughts. Like, I went through a big period of my life where I didn't have those thoughts because I was so engulfed in watching his content that he was putting out, and it changed my life. And then I started just being vulnerable. I didn't talk for a long time, and then all of a sudden I was vomiting. Like, I gotta get it out. Like, once I had got it out, I was like, I gotta get it all out, because keeping it in is what just blows you up and creates that frustration. I heard that if you go into your mind alone, you can get stuck there. So don't do that. But I'll tell you, as I'm going through this journey, once I became Mr. Boundless, motivational speaker, then I got right back trapped into that paradigm, those habits that are hard to break but are so beautiful once you break them, to where I was like, ooh, now I can't let people know that I'm struggling. I can't let people know that sometimes the devil, the force of average will put those thoughts in my head randomly. And of course, it's when I'm exhausted. So I've had those thoughts recently. Now, mind you, I am not going to kill myself. That is not an option. That is not going to happen. I have an amazing life. I have two amazing, beautiful baby kids that look up to me, and I have an amazing time. I'm sure you saw it on my social media. Like, when I am with them, I am on cloud 9. I'm in heaven. I love it. I'm a big kid, so I play with them. I was building a dam in the creek this weekend with them at the park, climbing up these areas where I can't even barely fit in these play places. And then we're at the water park for my son's birthday, and I'm out there with them the whole time. Like, I had friends that come to support, and at the end of it, I was like, man, I didn't even spend but maybe 2 minutes with my friends. One of my friends left, and they was like, dude, you was out in the wave pool the whole time with your kids, and we just had to leave. We wanted to say bye, but you was out there just living it up with your kids. I love it. Having 2 toddlers. As a single father, though, man, by the end of the weekend, I'm exhausted. But then I went to work. As soon as I dropped the kids off to their mom, I was working. I'm exhausted. And that's when the devil comes. See, when you're just out there, when I was just out there, drugs, alcohol, sleeping with random women, partying, devil's like, dude, I ain't even got to mess with you. I actually help you up. I'll do that layup. Like, here you go, man. I'll connect you with somebody who's going to give you some more weed. Like, random person that's smoking weed. Hey, you want to hit this? Or hey, these random girls is promiscuous. Like, You know, hey, here's another honey, here's another feel. Like, dude, when he just lays you up, the devil, like, here you go, here you go. But see, when you are moving forward in life, is for every action there's an opposite or equal reaction. So when you're trying to do good, yeah, some hard things are gonna come. When you're trying to get closer to God, you know, the devil doesn't like that, and he is gonna come harder. It's like a challenge when you are doing good. Is there challenge accepted? The devil's like, you don't know me, I ain't got nothing but time to steal, kill, and destroy. And it'll wear you out unless you lean on the right things. So I'm not even gonna lie, I'm gonna be super vulnerable with you because I want you to understand that even the people that are the highest of the highest levels and you think they've got it all, they have some of the biggest hurdles, you know? Like, I heard this multimillionaire say, you know, when that crash happened, I lost, I don't know, it was like 32 million, he said he lost in the stock market in a week. Lost $32 million in a week. And people were asking him, well, like, aren't you ready to quit and say, you know what, no more? And he was like, no, man, I make $7 to $10 million a day in the stock market. I lost 32 million in a week, but I can make that back in 3 to 4 days. You know, at worst, I'll make it back in a week. Why would I quit that when I'm a billionaire now? Because I'm making that $7 to $10 million a day, and he trades from the time he wakes up until breakfast. When he has breakfast with his family, he's done for the day. He's like, why would I quit that? I make that much money before I even eat breakfast. So just know you're going through these hard times. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, you keep pushing through, and all those successful people, they had to do what most won't do for 5 to 10 years to achieve and live the rest of their life like most people can't. So if you're living a life and you're just wishing, hoping, praying for this amazing life, you've got to put in that work. Like the chance of you winning the lotto or somebody just handing it to you and say, here you go, have a great rest of your life. Like, that's a fairy tale. Like, that's on these soap operas on TV that I don't even watch. I haven't cable for like over 11 years because it feeds you this bull story that's not even real. These wrinkles, these gray hairs, that's what's real. That's what you gotta go through. And what happened was I wasn't reaching out to my buddies. Because they're like, dude, Curtis, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And in my head, I was like, man, I don't want them to not be proud of me. And I somehow told myself these self-sabotaging stories. I was in my head. I was staying in my head by myself. And then them self-sabotaging stories were just rolling. And then you start to believe them. And I'm already isolated because I'm working so much that I talk to a lot of people on the daily. I talk to a lot of people. But it's not like I'm being open and vulnerable and authentic with them. Like, you know, these are work related, and you know, you keep business and your personal life separate. So I was talking to a lot of people, but in all reality, I was isolated because I couldn't talk to them. You know, I'm not gonna ruin a business opportunity by vomiting that the hard things that I'm going through, right? And I mean, it's when you're putting in 100+ hour weeks, you know, averaging 14+ hours a day, and the only time I gave myself, I'm with my kiddos. That's when I have my fun. That's when I allow myself to just be. I'm not gonna put that on my kiddos either. They're 3 and 5, right? So finally, last week, one of my buddies called me, and we're talking, and you know, I'm telling him about these business adventures. And I was like, I gotta be honest, Brandon, man, like, mentally, like, can I just go to sleep for like 72 hours straight? Like catch up on my rest? And he's like, man, Curtis, you know, he owns him and his dad and siblings own this company, and it's very successful. And he's like, Curtis, I wish that I could pay you 100,000 plus a year, because man, Curtis, you are so worth it. If there was one person that I would hire And I knew that I had like an indispensable income that I could pay them whatever they were worth. He goes, Curtis, you would be it. Dude, you're the hardest worker. I've one of the hardest workers I've ever met in my life. You're one of the best people I've ever met in my life. One of the best fathers I've ever seen in my life. Like maybe comparable to him, but he's like, dude, what you do, man, you might even be a better father than me. And I always look at him like, dude, you're an amazing father, one of the best fathers I've ever seen. And I was like, Brandon, man, I was like, dude, you're about to be so proud of me, dude. Let me send you my website for Changing Places, changingplacesforyou.com. Like, man, let me send you. And he's like, hold on. Let me stop you right there, Curtis. He's like, dude, I've been proud of you since the day I've met you, man. And that's why we've been friends for, goosebumps again. Me and Brandon have been friends for like 20 years. And he's like, dude, I'll do everything in my power to never let you out of my life because of who you are, Curtis. Like, you're an amazing person, and those types of people are few far in between. You're a giver, man. I trust you. Your integrity. Curtis, you ain't never leaving my life, bro. So if you ever need anything, as long as I can do it, I will help you. And man, you are so worthy. I don't even have to look at this website and I'm proud of you, bro. If you was making $10 an hour, $5 an hour, if you was working at McDonald's because of who you are as a person, how you are as a father, what you do for the world, you're always motivational speaking people, even when you're struggling, like you're struggling right now. Try not to cry, not gonna even lie. He's like, I'm proud of you, Curtis. So don't ever think that I'm not proud of you. I don't even have to look at this. And if you ever even question anything of who you are as a person, call me immediately. And if I don't answer, call me again. If I don't answer, call me again. And I'll realize you need to talk. And I'll say, hey, even if I'm in a meeting, I'll be like, dude, this is my dude. And I'm there. He's just called me 3 times. I've got to be there for him. We need to time out this meeting. I need to go talk to him right now because it's important. He said, dude, don't ever let yourself get into that pit where, and I was like, Brandon, I am not going to commit suicide. Like, even though the devil be trying to throw some stupid stuff in your head at times, like that is not even ever an option. No. He's like, well, if you even get stuck to where you think it more than once, man, call me. You got to have those people in your life. And if your people are not that type of people that are there for you when you're winning, when you're losing, if those aren't those type of people, you've got to keep them at bay. So I'm like, thanks, man. It helped me. Had a great day. Bam, what do you know? Next day, I'm exhausted, 4 hours of sleep, maybe 5, I don't even know. Here comes those stupid thoughts again. You're not worthy. You don't deserve it. You're not going to make it. See, it's not about vision with a lot of people. It's depth perception. You don't understand how close you are to your breakthrough. So that's why people give up. They call it 3 feet from gold. And it comes from a story where a guy was digging for gold and digging and he was getting gold and then it just went dry. He's still paying out all this labor, all this money he's paying out, and they're digging for weeks. And they weren't hitting, so they're like, you know what, I'm going to give up. He sold all his equipment. The guy he sold it to was smart, so he brought in professionals. And they realized the fault line of the earth actually made it to where they just had to go to the right or the left instead of straight, like it was going. Took a curve. So he sold all his stuff. The next guy brought in professionals. When you're going through things, follow the people that's already achieved it. They'll make it easier. He brought in that person. He said, dude, you actually need to just go 3 feet over because of the fault line of the earth. They did. The dude became a multimillionaire. He got so much gold because he knew he wasn't the professional with that, and he didn't understand it, so he brought in someone that did. Next thing you know, dude's multimillionaire. He was 3 feet from that fault line of gold, and he would have reaped millions and millions of dollars in gold, one of the biggest hits in history. Mentors, coaches, those are the people you need to bring in. LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Steph Curry, all the greats. Bring in coaches, even Ed Milet and all these speakers, John Maxwell. They have professional people that give them advice because you can't see your own back. Bring in those coaches. Day number 2, I'm struggling again, like exhausted. That's when my mind plays my worst tricks on me, is when you're tired. Are you tired? Here they come again. And then what do you know? I reach out to my other friend, another partner of mine, with the real estate company, my best friends. I was in my head self-sabotaging stories, those stories that don't serve you. I sent him a voice memo because I was just like, dude, I need to get this out. I don't want you to interrupt me. Because, sometimes we listen to respond versus listening to listen. And I was like, dude, I just need to get this out. And I was like, man, I appreciate you bringing me down this journey with this real estate. If you need to sell your home, or if you want to sell your home and you don't want to deal with real estate agents, having people in your house, paying for closing costs, you got to replace your roof and you don't want to pay for it, or a HVAC system or something. We got you. We'll buy your house. Anyways, had to throw that in there. I was like, bro, I feel like I'm letting you down, man. You brought me in on this, and because I've got so much time and effort I'm putting into my business with the construction, I'm painting like 8 apartments a week by myself, when I'm not painting, when I'm not writing my book, when I'm not building this Changing Places Consulting, because I just did a podcast with them. I'm helping build the website and programs and stuff. When I'm not doing it with them, I'm doing it with myself and my mastermind I'm building. And you're probably like, man, I'm exhausted just listening to you. I'm exhausted. But I was like, buddy, I appreciate you bringing me down this journey. We're going to make millions together. Please don't give up on me. I'm trying. I'm on learning these apps, and I'm putting in this time when I can. Just know, buddy. But in my head, I'm like self-sabotaging stories where I was like, dude, he's going to give up on me. He's going to say, you know what, maybe this partnership wasn't meant to be. I'm letting him down. I'm self-sabotaging all these stories in my head. I'm losing sleep. I'm worrying about it. I'm stressing about it. In life, it is what it is. Nothing more, nothing less. First universal law. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be authentic with him. I'm going to tell him how I feel and the struggles I'm having mentally. And if he says, man, you're not strong enough mentally to be my right-hand man, the second in charge in this business, maybe we should just cut ties. I said, man, I just got to let him know, because it's more important for him and I as a friend than this business adventure. That money will come, the success will come, and I just got to be real with him. So I did. I sent him this voice memo, and he was like, Curtis, there's a lot of people who I allowed to exit my life. He's like, dude, you have always been there for me. Anytime I called, you never said no. If I said, I need you, he was like, you would be on your way. 3 o'clock in the morning, it didn't matter if I needed a ride, if I needed someone to talk to, I trust you with my woman, my kid, I trust you. Bro, that is so rare in this world. I will never let you leave my life. I love you, man. And if you need me, dude, you know you could call me, bro. Don't do that again, man. Call me when you need me. And because it's just going to be a little funk. I already know you, Curtis. You're one of the hardest workers I've ever met in my life. You're an amazing father. Call me. And I was like, I'm listening. He sent me a voice memo back. And I'm like, dang near about to cry. I'm like, damn it, Curtis. Like, why did you allow yourself to struggle? It's called suffering. If you're not in a state that you want to be in, that's suffering. Even if you're sad, if you're worried, frustrated, you're suffering. Your life should be happiness and joy and just faith. It is what it is. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and it's meant to happen, and it's meant to happen for your good. I appreciated that so much. You need those people in your life, and that's why I'm making this video today, because if you are struggling and telling yourself these stupid self-sabotaging stories, reach out to your people. And if they aren't there for you to help you get through it, it's not all about what can somebody give me, like money, 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 money. No, it's not about that. Even my buddy Mark, he's like, man, you never handed me a bunch of money or anything like that. Like, I'm not keeping you in my life because of the tangible stuff you gave me. I helped him build his power washing business at one point. But he was like, dude, it's because of who you are. It's because I know that if I really need you, you'll come. He lives in Arizona right now. If he was having suicidal thoughts and was like, Curtis, I need you here right now, I'll drop everything and get there. I'll find a way to get there and find a way for somebody to take over the painting and the construction, and I'll put everything aside. He goes, I know that with you, Curtis, and know that I'm that same thing for you. And I needed that. I needed that when you're going through it. Your circle. That's why a lot of the older, more wise people on this earth say it's not about the size of your circle. It's about the depth, the strength. When it goes like this, like you're not going to pull my hands apart when they're just woven like that. When you're in alignment with the people that are in your life. I was like, thanks, man. I needed that. I was almost crying. When you grow up pretty much without a father for most of your life, I don't allow myself to cry. Even the times when I started to cry, I'm like, don't be you're stronger than that. Your shoulders, put them up, chin up, right? Sometimes you just gotta cry, let it out. Next day, this is how my week's been, folks. I'm doing great. I'm like, me and my mom, we text every morning. If you're a parent, that's one of the greatest gifts on earth you can give to your kids, is just being there, being present, even if you're financially struggling or going through your own stuff. My mom and I text each other every morning. Good morning. I love you. Have a great day. But sometimes that can get easy to be that copy paste, not really personal. So on Saturday, I think it was Friday, I don't even freaking know what day it was. I'm like, I'm gonna call my mom. And she's like, how's things going? And I was like, Mom, blah. And I was driving home and I was in a rush. I think it was Friday. I had to go get my kiddos. And I was like, well, Mom, I didn't even plan on just vomiting like that. But I guess I needed to get it out. And she's like, nah, I love you, son. That's no big deal. Give me a call. I'll see you, we're going to see each other. And I was like, thanks, Mom. But I had to get it out, and she was there to listen. And you got to have those people in your life. I'm just driving this into you, how important it is to have those people in your life. So then I had my kids all weekend. 100-hour work week. Now I've got my kiddos. And I don't know if you tried to wrestle 2 toddlers by yourself, a 3 and a 5-year-old. I love them. Their energy levels, wrestling them. A lot of times, one wants to be on my shoulders and I'm holding the other one. Sometimes they're fighting to see who's on my shoulders, and they're getting bigger. So now I've got a son who's pushing 60 pounds and a daughter is pushing 40, and I'm like, it's a 100-pound backpack, and I've got my bag that's got all their stuff in it, and I'm strong. I work out on the daily, but I'm like, whoo! By the end of the weekend, I'm like exhausted. And right before I took the kiddos home, I have a friend that came to stay, is in town from the UK. Super positive, was a pastor for 10 years. She told my kids, she said, you guys realize you have a super daddy? And they're like, what? Like a superhero? Huh? Like, yeah, your daddy, he's not no regular daddy. You guys got to know that. They're like, and she goes, he's got superpowers. And they're like, what? You know, kids all about superheroes. My son's all into Spider-Man. My daughter is all into being a princess and stuff. You know, right now that's the stage they're in. She said, your dad is like no other. She watched me for the whole weekend. She said, Curtis, I'm married. She's married. And she said, when I watch you with those kids and what you do, breakfast, lunch, dinner, playing with them, cleaning up after them, bathing them. She's like, even there was a couple times when my kids needed discipline. She's like, you didn't even get mad at them. You just took a deep breath. You sat down with them. You got on their level. You explained to them why that wasn't acceptable and how we were not going to act like that in this home. That is not how we act as a family, as your name, your brand. Sissy, we do not act like that. Bubby, we do not act like that. It doesn't matter what anyone else does. We hold ourselves to higher standards. And when she said that, I was like, I appreciated it in that moment. But I had to go. We got stuff to do. Took the kiddos home. And then once I got home again, she was like, Curtis, I've got to let you know, you're one of the most amazing fathers I've ever seen in my life. She's like, that should be the standard for all fathers. And instantly, my head, I wanted to go back into, well, you know, I went through a divorce. I moved out the next week. I do move in. Our divorce was final a month and a half later. She was remarried, and I started talking down about myself. She's like, Curtis, I gotta stop you, man. None of us are perfect. And dude, if you was that type of father, you know, I'm sure we all have flaws. I could have done better. She's like, but you're an amazing person. You let me stay here for free so I didn't have to dump money into hotels. You've driven me when I know I've watched you, Curtis. You're putting in crazy 100-hour weeks. You're always working. Like, we really haven't, her and I haven't spent really any time together. She's like, you work. You come home, eat, shower, and go to sleep. Every day. You're an amazing person, and stop with those self-sabotaging stories that you tell yourself because I'm from the outside looking in. You are an amazing person and you're doing an amazing job. I just have to say thank you. Thank you. And I had to remind myself of that. And if you're still listening 34 minutes into this video, if you're going through hard times and you're telling yourself those self-sabotaging stories, just know that once you can control your mind, you can do anything in this world. And one of not most important conversation you have, the most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. And it's also the majority of the conversations you do have are the ones you have with yourself. They're so important. So if you get stuck in this loophole, reach out to your people. I had to be reminded of it this week because I know God, the universe was like, Curtis, how are you getting stuck in your head again? Didn't you go through this before? Where you was struggling mentally and you learned, reach out to your people. Don't put yourself on an island. That's even why in Castaway, Wilson, Tom Hanks had that volleyball because he knew he was going crazy, and that's why he made the face on the volleyball. Because when you put yourself on an island, that's when you go crazy. I was part of a group in a church. It's called the Wolf Pack. Because see, wolves are one of the most undefeatable animals out there. But when they're alone, they can get defeated by, like, say, hyenas or wolves or whatever. Lions. You know, there's animals out there that can kill a wolf when they're alone. But a wolf pack is known to be pretty much undefeatable. So that's why we named it the Wolf Pack, because you're strong enough to stand alone, but smart enough to do it in the pack. I knew this, but I had allowed myself because I went into my head alone and I got stuck there. So please, to tie this video up, if you're struggling, if you're going through hard times, don't go in your head alone. Don't do it alone. That is, even though you think you're being strong, that's one of the weakest and dumbest things you can do. And if you don't have the right people in there where you can be authentic with them and tell them that. I was talking to my buddy. I was like, dude, I keep having these stupid suicidal thoughts, and that's not even an option for me. That's not even something that I'm ever going to do. Like, I would never, I even made a video about it where I was like, dude, I just got to go watch that dang video that I made for all of you. In all reality, it was because I needed to make that video for me. Curtis, go watch your own video. It's called, I think, A Dream About Death on my Curtis Potter Jr. YouTube page, Curtis with a K. It's helped so many people who was struggling with suicide, and it was talking about how you turn into a guardian angel and you got to watch people that are suffering because of your death. And it's helped tons of people who were mourning and stuck in this mourning period for longer than 30 days. You should give yourself some time to mourn when you lose somebody. But then you owe it to yourself and your lineage, future generations, to get over it. Go through the process, go through some counseling, talk with some people, let it out, because once you let it out, it has no more power. Look at the smile on my face. Like, once I told Brandon, I told my mom, I told Mark, I told Carol Ann, it no longer had power on me, and that's why I made boundaries.